The Katana amps have stayed amongst some of my favourite pieces of gear ever since I plugged into one and started making videos for you guys. In fact, a lot of you come here for Katana information or Katana advice, and the question I get asked absolutely most in the comments section is, should I buy a Katana 50 watt or a Katana 100 watt? And a question that crops up a lot also is, how do I plug my looper pedal into my Katana? Well, I thought I'd try and crush two birds with one stone and answer both those questions in one video. And this video is that video. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have an answer to at least one of those questions. I'll mainly cover the looper stuff in this video, and by doing that, I hope to answer which app you should buy, the 50 or the 100, so I'll mix it all together for you. First up, what is a looper and what does it do? So for example, here are two really popular looper pedals, the RC1, also from BOSS, and the Ditto Plus, the updated Ditto from TC Electronic. They both have a big button on the front, or a stomp switch that you can press with your foot or fingers, and they've got a level up here that you can control the level of the loop. One press on the button will activate the loop recording. So we know we're recording on the Ditto Plus because the time is going up and there's a big red display. On this one, the counter's going round and round and round clockwise to tell us we're recording. A second press of the buttons will stop the loop recording and start playing that loop from when I first pressed the button. There we go. Now we're green on both. You can see the loop is progressing just up here. And here you can see the loop's progressing because it's going around in the circle. So both doing the same thing in a slightly different way. If I press both twice, 1, 2, the loop will stop. So we've got a pause just here and this green thing means we've stopped. If I press it one more time, it'll restart. There we go. Even the most basic looper pedal will have those functions. And one final thing they probably share, if I go back to this camera, is if I double press and hold, 1, 2, and then hold it down, it erases that loop. So now we have a fresh bank to record a new loop onto. There are two main ways in which you can connect your looper pedal to your amp. And it doesn't matter if you have a Katana or some other kind of amp, a head, a combo, a valve amp, a digital modeling amp. There's only one question you have to find out the answer to, and that is, does my amp have an effects loop? For example, the BOSS Katana 100 has an effects loop, and the BOSS Katana 50 does not have an effects loop. What is an effects loop, I hear you cry? Well, let me give you the answer. Firstly, when you plug into your amplifier, you are actually amplifying your guitar signal twice. Firstly, with the preamp section, which is where all the tone shaping and gain and overdrive and distortion comes from, generally speaking. And then secondly, with the power amp, which is making what you've done in the preamp louder. There is such a thing as power amp distortion and power amp overdrive, but that means you've got to get it super loud. So generally speaking, we're talking preamp does the tone shaping and gain, and power amp makes it louder. Effects loop sits in between these two sections of your amp, which allows you to do something a bit special. If you have the Katana 50, or if this is the one you're thinking of getting, and you want to use a looper pedal with the onboard effects, then the only option you have is to plug it in between your guitar and the amp in the input of the preamp section. The downside of this method is that by plugging into the input of the amp, whenever you change your amp type or add any kind of effects, that's going to affect your loop. Because your loop is going into this, then it's being affected, and then it's being amplified through the speaker. If you have the Katana 100, or the Head, or the 100-212, or the Artist, they all have an effects loop, and that's where you should plug in your looper pedal. To show you how to plug the looper into the effects loop, I'm going to use this Harley Benton. Because it is the simplest looper I own, it's only got an out, in, a button, and a volume knob. So you can't really make any mistakes. So you plug one end of the cable into the effects loop send. That's coming out of your preamp. You plug the other end of that cable into the input of the looper pedal. So now it looks like this, and we take a second cable, plug that in the output of the looper, switch hands, and you plug the output of that into the return of the effects loop. This way, you plug the guitar into the input of the amp as you would normally, and you choose your Katana settings as you would normally, so clean, crunch, distorted, whatever, some phaser, feel your boots. Then that signal comes out after the preamp via the effects send all the way here into the looper pedal. You record your loop, and then you come out of the looper pedal and back into the amp with the effects return, that then gets amplified louder to ear-splitting levels by the power amp section. So to put it quite simply, if you have the Katana 50 and you want to use the onboard effects, your only option is to plug it into the input of the amp, and anything you record will then be changed also if you change anything on the amp. If you have the 100 or above, that's not the case because you can put the looper in the effects loop. So you can record, for example, a nice clean loop, and then change the settings of the amp for a lead tone and play a lead tone over that clean loop. Anything you do with the amp will not affect the sound of the loop. Of course, there's often exceptions with these rules, and the Katana is no different. If you go into the Katana Tone Studio software, you can actually change the position of the effects loop in your amp circuit, meaning that if you have it post-amp and you record a loop, anything you change in the reverb will also change the sound of the loop. If you put the effects loop after the reverb, the amount of reverb on your loop will not change when you play over top of it. The other thing you can change is the effects loop can be serial or parallel. And for looping, I'd always recommend that you choose the serial option, and I'm not going to go any deeper into that in this video. Let me know if you do want that in the future in the comment section down below. If you're using a Katana with a pedal board and you don't use any of the inbuilt effects of the amp, so nothing, you're just using this to amplify your sound, there is a third way to plug into the amp. All of the Mark II Katanas, that's including the 50, so all of the Mark II Katanas have a power amp in section just here, so you can plug in there. This completely defeats the preamp section, all the effects. All it does is when you plug in there, it goes straight to the power amp and out through the speaker. None of the inbuilt effects are used when plugging into the power amp. In fact, that section of the amp is turned off. So listen up. On your pedal board, if you have an overdrive pedal that you can use as a preamp or an actual preamp pedal itself, such as this, the Orange Terra Stamp, you can put all of these on your pedal board, and then the very last pedal in your chain would be the looper pedal, and then from the looper pedal, go into the power amp in of the Mark II Katana, then you're just using the Katana as an amp and a speaker to make your pedal board louder. That way you can do all your tone shaping before the looper pedal. So for example, do a clean loop, and then change the pedals, stomp, 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 and have a lead section over that looper pedal. And if you've got pedals, which many of us do, that's a pretty cool way to save money and go for the 50. But still, I'd still recommend the 100. In this video, I set out to answer two questions. The first being, should I get a Katana 50 or a Katana 100? And I hope this video has helped you make a decision. I can't decide for you. However, I would personally go for the 100 because of the extra features. There we go, that's my recommendation. The second question is, how do I plug a looper into my Katana? Well, that's what this video is about, so I hope that's answered that question. If you have any more questions, then please ask down in the comments section, and if you know something about the Katana, then go down in the comments section and maybe help me answer some of those questions. That would really help out and help each other and help this community. Thank you to Boss for sponsoring the video, and thank you to you for making it all the way to the end, meaning that you're a member of the End of the Video Club. To prove that you are a member of this prestigious elite, please, when leaving your comment down below, also include the phrase, whoop-de-dooper loop, and that'll let me know that you did make it to the end of the video. My goodness, there's more things for you to do. You could subscribe to the channel, or you could watch one of the other videos that's on your screen right now, but whatever you do, I hope you enjoy your time and make music and play guitar, or at least one of those two. Bye!